Chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. We are continuing to read. This is the last chapter of Harinam Cintamani and Nama Bhajana. So, Nama Bhajana. Prema alone is the purpose of the life of jivas. Bhava, which is the soul's feeling, develops into prema. Turning their face towards Krishna, the more jivas progress, the more they approach the temple of prema. Thus, in considering the candidacy for prema, we meet at the outset with two kinds of circumstances. One is an intense longing for the unattained prema. The other is the stage when the pedestal of prema is already reached. There is no higher stage beyond the later one on incessant rasa in an undivided unique tattva of that region. Those devotees with an utter craving for prema but who are still on the way to it are again divided into two classes according to the love of seclusion or basti. The first are called Viviktanandis, who are close followers of approved usages. The others are known as Goshtanandis and are ever happy in preaching. Deep meditation on Krishna, on Godhead, is the discipline of prema bhaktas, and glorifying or singing the name of Krishna is their preaching. In the state where there is an intense longing for the unattained prema, the premi bhaktas are exclusively devoted to Krishna. Utter self-surrender marks them out. The Srimad Bhagavatam and the Gita have very highly eulogized such refugees. If a devotee does not take absolute shelter under the cool shade of the gracious feet of Krishna, why speak of prema? He remains quiet in the dark even about bhava. A self-surrendering devotee should only accept things that are favorable to prema bhakti and should deny everything, whatever it may be, that is antagonist or unfavorable to it. Such a devotee believes that Krishna is the only protector, that nothing else or no one else but Krishna can save or protect him. He has not the least doubt that Krishna alone protects all. Devotees firmly and sincerely believe themselves to be very humble and insignificant. The faith of an earnest and exclusive devotee is that he himself can do nothing, that not even a straw moves without the will of Krishna. Extremely self-surrendered devotees prefer to most exclusively embrace Sri Nama to every other feature of devotion. They have a more intense appetite for singing and meditating upon the holy name than for anything else. Of all the means of bhajana, the name of Bhagavan is the most purely spiritual. In describing the absolute duties, the Sri Hari Bhakti Vilas has spoken of the glories of chanting and contemplating the holy name as the best. It has been given the foremost place. The Shastras declare that there is not the least difference between Krishna and Krishna's name because the real nature of his name is spiritual. The holy name manifests himself as the Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha of Krishna. Those who desire to realize the form of Krishna and the form of the holy name must try to realize their own Chitta Swarupa. The practitioner of bhakti can never be dexterous in his adoration of God so long as he does not realize his spiritual truth. So how can he attain object of pursuit? The attainment of an absolute conception of spiritual truths causes the amelioration of bhajana. Here we shall say something on this subject. Many a time we have pointed out in the Chaitanya Shikshamrita with quotations from the Shastra that every jiva is a spiritual molecule, that the residence of Krishna is a spiritual kingdom, that Krishna is the spiritual sun, and that devotion to Krishna is a spiritual inclination, that Krishna's name is Chitrasa Vigraha. Now we venture to show the relation between spirit and those devotees who are extremely anxious for prema. And then we shall show the means to the attainment of the highest bliss of the soul. If we have spiritual merit earned in previous birth, transcendental felicity will be enkindled in our heart. We have no appetite for the knowledge of Brahman, which is restricted to realization of mere chit only. For spiritual sportive pastimes have no place in it. The savior of the Iron Age, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, declares the Vedas to be the only judge and reveals the nine prameyas, subject matters. There is a broad discussion on it in the Srimad Bhagavatam. The Vedas have proved jivas to be spiritual atomic parts of the deity. Jivas are like rays from the sun, Krishna. So the spiritual form of the jivas must be identified with the spiritual form of Godhead. But the differences lies in the fact that Krishna may be compared with the full sun, while the jivas are his innumerable rays. Krishna is Lord of Lords. The Jivas are his eternal servants. There is no denying the fact that the residential home of Krishna is in the Paravyama or Goloka, which is all spiritual. Vaikunta, Chik Jagat, etc., all refer to spiritual region. The Vajasena Upanishad speak of the form of Krishna to be purely spiritual. The Shvetaswara Upanishad describes the eternal power of Krishna, who is superior to the best and higher than the highest. The Mundaka Upanishad shows bhakti to the Chitrasa and coming to conceive Krishna to be the life of lives, the wise, after discarding all garrulity, dry wisdom, and vain arguments, dive deep to see the bottom of their soul. They, after realizing the deity by dint of pure intuition, run after devotion. He who does this is a Brahmana, that is a Vaishnava devotee of Krishna. Such has been shown to the nature of bhakti or devotion. As the Chandogya Upanishad states, O Maitreya, the soul alone is to be seen, heard, reflected, meditated upon, and realized by spiritual organs. All is then known to us beyond and doubt. That soul, Krishna, is dearer than one's son, dearer than wealth, for he is omniscient. Things that are sense pleasing are never worth endearment. From the pleasure of the great soul, all joy proceeds. Thus, the eternal relation of happiness between Krishna and the Jiva is prema. What exact connection does there exist between the manifested and visible mundane world and the spiritual sphere? In going to search after spiritual truths, more often than not, we are deluded. After deep contemplation and discrimination, we conclude spirit to be something opposite to matter. Pressing our worldly reasonings too far, we leave Chitrasa to the background and are satisfied with an imaginative, inarticulate, and incomplete conception of spiritual Brahman. This is only an imagination of the Chit Swarup of Brahman. In such a stage, Brahman is immutable, incorporeal, invisible, or formless, without attributes and dry of prema. This uncommon perception is like the sky flower, and being unable to know the name, form, attributes, and pastimes of diversion of the Chit Sarupa, we turn to being inactive. Hence, it is that all potence of jivas come to pass due to this dry wisdom. This is well illustrated in the conversation between Vyasa and Narada. It is clear from the above that you never can know the spiritual sportive pastimes of Parabrahma if you're dazzled by the mere Chit Swarupa Brahman, which is only a semblance of the eternal light of Chit. Brother, look ahead, enter into the kingdom of Godhead after dashing through the brilliance of pure and simple Chit. There you will be able to realize the spiritual pastimes of Godhead. Then you no longer will be able to taste the ambrosia of an incessant Brahma rasa. No longer will your soul remain wooden like. The name, form, attributes, and leela of the Supreme Being are manifested not by any earthly light, but by a spiritual flame. The sun, moon, stars, lighting, and fire of this earth are quite unfit to give light to that other spiritual horizon. This spiritual light, which is far beyond worldly lights, brightens that region. It is only a perverted reflection of that light that we think supplies us with light, but in fact it does not. While describing Brahmapura, the region of Brahman, the Chandogya Upanishad gives us a comprehensive knowledge of it. The spiritual kingdom, as displayed by the spiritual light, is an ideal to this base earth. There is not the least tinge of baseness, while on the contrary, only an all-pervading daintiness is its sweet affair. The 14 Mundane worlds are only a perverted reflection of that sphere. The gross sun is a reflection of that light, and its subtle reflection is seen in the mundane rays of dry wisdom arising from mind, conscious, and consciousness. Our gross senses believe the gross sun to be a flash of luster, and we are proud of the earthly knowledge which is gained by dint of the 8 processes of yoga, that are actions of the subtle intellect, conscience, and ego. All these are seemingly natural workings of engrossed jivas. So, how much is left, Prabhu? Should I just stop here? Let me see further down.
Yes, yes, Mataji. I think
All done?
there is
There's
more.
okay. So tomorrow we can finish off. Okay. So
Yeah, I think it's
yeah, this section just seemed to be a little bit above my
Mhm.
understanding. Like it's really very high level. And I'm just thinking, right, when Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote this book, you can clearly see that, right? That he had already experienced all of this. That is what my realization was coming, where explaining so nicely about how the feeling is and how the expression is and how it can never be compared to Brahman and this and that and everything. So obviously, we can understand that our acharyas, they have, I mean, we know that he was also the gopi form, the assistant. So we know that he was that. Then they would be able to go enter into Krishna's pastimes. So it's just beautiful to see how they're explaining all of this. Of course, for us, it is way beyond our understanding, but we can just see that eventually, through the process that's been given to us with the sadhana bhakti and with Krishna's mercy, that is a last door, because Krishna has the keys to the final door that he has to let us in. But if one day, if we even get there, we can see how it is way beyond our conception. We can even not even like conceive what it is even like, because we know is of this earthly realm, and that's what is being explained, even Brahman realization, all of that, just the earthly realm. But really, what is the final Krishna's abode, and everything is so different. And what is being explained is that this holy name is going to carry us through there. That is the instrument. So as long as we hold on to the holy name with really genuine heart, sincere heart, Krishna's holy name is going to take us there. And that's what is being explained over and over and over, that Krishna is in the holy name. His holy name is not different than Krishna himself. So really our all of our focus, or all of our, it's like the main instrument or the main form is going to be the holy name. So that's where it was explained that the holy name is the source and also the final goal. So all of this is really inspiring us more and more to focus more on the holy name, with being able to do pure chanting. So just praying to Krishna, praying to the holy name Nama Prabhu, that they can show us some mercy. Yeah. Hare Krishna. I'll just go